For the past 10 months, we've been renovating this 1857 Philadelphia row home. You would think the hardest part would be dealing with termite damage or crumbling bricks, but in reality, one of the hardest parts is just dealing with waste. Well, it's just a normal Philly backyard, just full of bricks. The backyard's full of bricks again. Come on, man. There are a couple things that make dealing with waste especially challenging. First, the street is too narrow to fit most trucks, and even when you can get a truck down, there's barely any parking to pull off, which makes it super challenging to load waste. The only way to get trash from the backyard out to the front street is to go through this narrow alleyway that's too small for a wheelbarrow and definitely too small for any mechanical equipment. To get someone else to remove all this probably would be like $1,200, maybe $1,300. So, I don't know, doing it ourselves, maybe we can do it for $300 and a nice lunch. Gonna switch shops. I think we're at capacity. We did good. Dump number 1, complete. We got that pickup truck load of waste delivered at the dump, and now our friend Pavel's back.
Hey, what's up, brother?
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Can we refinish this one?
Dang, where'd the floor go, man?
I don't know.
There's not much to refinish over here.
Super excited to start working on this floor. It's kind of a project that can be happening through all the MEP work. Yeah. And yeah, just a lot of little patches to be done here. Like for one, this is where the chimney was that we need to, of course, patch. So we're probably going to take all this out and run the floor a little longer to meet up with the tile floor there. And I guess first step is clearing the way for you. All right, I'm excited to be able to get some of this salvaged wood out of my basement. Yeah, that's a lot of wood. Put it to use up here. Our new joist here is a little bit separated from the existing by like ½ inch from when it was put in there. So we're gonna try to get this back in place. Do you think it's possible to get it back in? I'm a little wary of just slamming the original joist, but this should all be tied in a little bit with the floor, right? Previously, I talked about how these joists, just these two right here, are low. This one got shimmed up a ½ inch, and these ones didn't. So almost an inch, these are low. Pavel cut down a 2x4 here and just tapered it so it's high on that side and towards me, it goes to nothing. I was having a little too much fun helping Pavel with the floor, but what really needs to get done is just hauling 5-gallon buckets to a truck and taking them to the dump. Load number 2. After a very labor-intensive start to this week, I'm excited to head over to my local Kohler signature store. Unlike a kitchen and bath showroom, these stores exclusively sell the Kohler family of brands, so they have the largest and most robust offering of Kohler products. Not only that, but they have design specialists and product experts that are there to help and answer any questions I might have. And shout out to Joanna, who was there at the King of Prussia location helping me out. Kohler sold its first cast iron bathtub in 1883. 142 years later, here I am enjoying that same material, cast iron, that's built to last in a world where everything seems disposable. Kohler is a company rooted in its heritage, but also adapting with time, like this Waste Lab box sink, which is made from material diverted from the landfill. Well, this cast iron sink is awesome. I don't quite have the kitchen size to justify it. So I'm really interested in these workstation sinks that have accessories like cutting boards, like colanders, drainage trays, that basically extend your sink into the workable countertop area, which is great for a small kitchen like mine. Kohler offers a bunch of great finishes. For my project, I chose this vibrant brushed nickel that's just a step up from the standard polished chrome finish. Choosing finishes has been one of the more challenging parts of the project, so I'm really excited to be working with Kohler on this. Remember back in the day when we were always back here just chiseling mortar off bricks? So I've been chipping off mortar. Well, get to do it a little bit more. Plenty of bricks here to be saved, and I'm probably going to save some of the half bricks too, because once I started doing some masonry work, I realized that half bricks come in handy. Load number 3 did not go easy, but it's gone. Some exciting work getting done today. We have the HVAC going in. Lots of people have asked what the plan is for that, so let's start in the basement and walk through it. So everything starts over here. We're gonna have our furnace in this corner. We already have some pipes in here for the exhaust for that furnace. And then we're gonna have one big duct, 2 big ducts actually, one for supply, one for return. Coming here, it'll kind of wrap around the space and hit the last supply that comes up on that corner. There's gonna be some floor hits. We're gonna have a supply for the living room there, another supply for the living room coming up right there, a return right there. Let's see where those come up. On the first floor, we're gonna have a supply coming up to this wall. Gonna fur out to the left side of this beam here. This is other supply return coming up to the second floor. We'd have one supply in the back of that back room, another stack going up to the second and third floor. Up there is a duct that'll continue down that's servicing the second floor bedroom here. We're gonna have another one coming up and coming out of the wall right here for the supply for the living room. We need to build this area out that I showed in last week's design episode, but because the duct is to the right, we actually have a little bit of room here for kind of a coat closet. It won't be a proper 2-foot depth, but it'll be a little bit of storage there. Here's a big run going all the way up to the 3rd floor. From the 2nd floor here, there's the 2nd floor return, 2nd floor supply right there for this bedroom. We have just one vertical run that hits both the bathrooms, and you only need supply in the bathroom, not return. Then we have our washer dryer vent. It's going to come all the way through to a hole right there. We have a supply coming up and hitting under this window, and the return here. So we're going to need to soft it out here above the washer dryer, which isn't a big deal. This big open space here is going to be serviced by just one mini split up on the wall as a supplemental unit, because it's hard to get heating and cooling all the way up to the 3rd floor, but the bathroom and this back bedroom are both ducted. Super exciting to be getting the HVAC in, but again, just keeping up with the mess. It's like we started doing the floor and then Pavel didn't have time to finish up that section, and now it's like we have to work with just pieces of plywood over those holes in the floor, and I still got a bunch of stuff from the plumbers here because the plumbers haven't finished up. They kind of started, then HVAC, then plumbing will finish up, then electrical. So for a little while, I'm gonna have to let them just finish up their work until I can clear things out and get back to the many projects we have to finish up before we get to electrical. But in the meantime, we got the backyard pretty much cleared out here, and I set some bricks aside, so I gotta chip off mortar, sort, you know. Thinking about schedule here, it is currently May 23rd. I think if we could get the rough-in done by the end of June, I think we'd be in pretty good shape, which means I need to do a lot of burring out of walls. I need to rebuild that bump out. I need to replace some headers, a plethora of other things, a lot of like spray foam, fire sealing before the inspection happens. But I think we'll be in good shape if we finish that up by the end of June. Then July, beginning of it is insulation, get that insulation inspection, and then we could have drywall by the end of July. And then that gives me August, September, October, 3 months to do all the finish work, install the kitchen, install the bathrooms, paint. I don't know, I've never done this stuff before, but I feel like that's achievable. Might need some help along the way. But yeah, that's all for this week. Just keep making progress each week, and one day, man, I'll be able to move in. I have a little bit of post-video commentary, and if you've made it this far in the video, then you've probably been here from the beginning, and I would love your feedback on something. So a previous video, I mentioned that my neighbor who was going to renovate, and actually was the reason I went back and redid my permits to create this bump out for my bathrooms, that neighbor decided to sell because the contractor they were working with just kept increasing the costs and it became unreasonable and they had to scrap the project. That very well could have happened to me also. If I worked with a contractor, I would have been hit with a bunch of change orders, and doing it myself allowed for a lot more flexibility. But what I want to talk to you about is buying this house. And some of you have already floated that idea in the comments of that video a couple weeks ago. And there are a lot of reasons to buy it and a lot of reasons not to buy it. So for one, the house is basically a mirror image of mine, and it's structurally very tied together. There's the alleyway that shares joists. There's a fence in the middle of that alleyway that I'd like to be able to take down. If I bought that house, I could enlarge my backyard while still being able to rent the house for income. And I've already learned so much and set everything up. I have my general contracting license. I can do the design very similar to the house I'm doing currently. So it feels like a natural fit, and I'd love to have control over the project because someone else buying it and having a bad contractor could lead to structural issues with my house, or a brick from when they're demoing could fly over and break a window or something, and that's not something I want to deal with. Also, with this house, I could probably get a good off-market deal because I know the neighbor and I think he would want to sell it to a neighbor as opposed to someone else. So I think I could get the house for like maybe 180, and I paid 230 for mine and I overpaid. But now that I know the issues and their house has the same exact issues, you need to tear it down. It's pretty much the same project as my project now. Tear down the wood section, fix up the brick section, do an addition. So I know exactly how much it'll cost. One thing I'm not sure of is if the YouTube content would even be interesting, because it would just be a repeat of what we have just done. So that's one thing I want to hear from you on. Would you like to see me do this again? Because it's a good opportunity and it could be a good experience now that I have a lot more experience to do another project. The big question though of buying this house is how I'm going to afford it. I'm kind of barely scraping by affording my current project, and this one obviously I'd need the money for a down payment to buy it for 180. I don't know if I can get a loan, and then how do you finance the construction of it? So one potential is some form of crowdfunding, like Kickstarter. I could offer the Rowhomes book and Rowhomes prints and potentially materials from the house, like old pieces of the baseboards or the floor or the bricks, or just interesting pieces that you might be interested in as keepsakes or as a sign of my appreciation for your support. So that's one option. But also, if I just jump into redoing this whole thing again, I'm gonna have to put my other plans for my own house on hold, which is something I kind of don't want to do. I kind of don't want to do the work right now all over again, although it would be a lot less stressful the second time around. But I also feel bad passing up on this opportunity. So let me know what you think. If you have any creative ideas for financing a renovation like this, let me know. And yeah, I don't know, it could be cool, or it could be just a whole lot more work. So let me know what you think. Thanks again.